tonight because we feel extra good, okay? And if you're not feeling good, you're in the right place because we're here to make you feel good. You're in the right place because you're with family members. The Metallica family is loud and strong here in New York, New Jersey area. And whether you know it or not, you're in the family now. So you have to help me sing, all right?
Anything for you.
Welcome to part 2 of my Metallica M72 World Tour No Repeat Weekend Review. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll go ahead and put that down in the description so you can go ahead and get caught up on my thoughts on the first show. This video is coming out a little bit later than I would have liked. Unfortunately, the weekend was fantastic overall, but it was draining, to say the least, not only for the fantastic music and the event itself, but the drive back and forth to East Rutherford, New Jersey for the MetLife Stadium took a lot out of me doing it so many days ago. So let's go ahead and let's get right into our review here. So first off, our first band that we had was Ice Nine Kills. I did not know very much about Ice Nine Kills. I may have seen that they had done collaborations with, I think, like maybe Motley Crue and some other bands recently, but I didn't really know too much, so I didn't know what to expect. You know, I said in my previous video that Mammoth was a fantastic opener, and I hate to say this, but Ice Nine Kills got you beat. Ice Nine Kills not only had fantastic music, they had a fantastic show. And this is the opener, mind you. So the gimmick of Ice Nine Kills, or I should say the theme really, is they do references to horror. So their songs are about, you know, fear and death and killing people and getting slaughtered and cut up and all that. It's admittedly pretty awesome. I'm a really big horror fan myself, so I saw all the different references for different movies as they were going through, and I had the biggest smile on my face because I went, I get it. The energy of Ice Nine Kills is absolutely fantastic. The singer kind of reminds me of Brendan Urie a little bit with how he sounds. And if I had to describe him, I would say he's like a mix between Brendan Urie and Eli Roth. But I mean that in a fantastic way. He was wildly entertaining, didn't break character. There was no, oh, thank you so much for having me. It's like, nope, we're going to get to the music and we're going to get to the kills. The opener, they started with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and there were two dudes whipping around chainsaws. And I did not know that the chainsaw is technically considered an instrument, and anyone who masters that is absolutely fantastic. Bit is when they were doing a reference to American Psycho, where the singer was like putting on the suit and he wielded an axe, and he went over and on stage he cut a dude's head off, right? And then we started kicking the head around like a soccer ball. It was insane, but it was glorious. There was a woman running around, and then she got her throat slit. I mean, it was pretty gnarly. I did not expect this kind of engaging performance from anyone at this kind of concert, let alone from the opener. So I'm now a new fan of Ice Nine Kills. Holy crap! And just from the performance itself, that does not take away from how fantastic the music is. I don't think I could listen to Ice Nine Kills every day. You know, horror is not something that I wish to experience every day of my life. But if you want that kind of like chaotic, spooky horror energy that your favorite horror movie gives you, Ice Nine Kills delivers that in spades. our second band, Five Finger Death Punch. Now, I was into Five Finger when I was in high school. Some of my favorite songs were Under and Over It, Wrong Side of Heaven, Righteous Side of Hell, and Lift Me Up. That being said, I kind of fell out of Five Finger once I started getting to college. I kind of started expanding my music taste, so they really weren't a band that I was actively following and actively listening to. Within my friend group, I never really got all the details, but they had said something along the lines of the Five Finger Death Punch, like selling out and becoming more mainstream, which really happens a lot. You know, in order to be successful, unless you're super, super niche, you kind of have to go ahead and hit the mainstream. You know, having brand deals, selling merchandise, that kind of thing. And I don't want that to deter anyone. I don't want any negative connotations with Five Finger to deter how fantastic of a show they put on. Five Finger Death Punch, for me, is that kind of band when you just want just raw, angry, fuck off, fuck you, fuck everything. And live is even better. The singer of Five Finger Death Punch, he genuinely came off like the nicest guy on the face of the planet when he wasn't yelling about, you know, back the fuck up, better shut the fuck up. There's actually one point in the show where he brought his son on stage, and it was like the nicest thing I've ever seen. It was kind of an odd switch from Ice Nine Kills of slaughtering people to then Five Finger Death Punch being like, and this is my son, I love him, and I'm proud.
Nice catch. That is unacceptable! I said hi!
Hi! Don't yell at me.
Seems the world's gone a little crazy since we were here last night. We're not going to talk about that tonight.
Oh, thank God.
Instead, we're just going to wash that shit away. Put your hands where I can see them! All the way up top!
Points. The singer of Five Finger came across as very genuine to me. He was kind, he was friendly, he loved to interact with the audience. I always think is great. He would like take cell phones and take videos for people and like toss the phone back. And that dude's got an art. Like he has mastered the art of chucking someone's phone just perfectly so it doesn't drop and it doesn't fall. Five Finger Death Punch as well, their sound was great. They had a lot of audience like singing along and yelling and all that. And there was just this genuine energy of just love, which sounds kind of weird from a band that can be so vulgar and violent, but they were just genuinely happy to be there. It was awesome. They did play, of course, my favorite songs. They started with Lift Me Up. They did go ahead and play Under and Over It, and they did play Wrong Side of Heaven, Righteous Side of Hell, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. Another point in the show, the singer of Five Finger Death Punch came out with like a baseball bat, and he explained that he struggled with addiction, and he's been sober for 5 years now, which absolute props. I know that fighting addiction is hard, so I'm very glad to hear that you're happy and healthy. And there's a point where he gave out some these little baseball bats that he would normally give out to people who are also in recovery and struggling with addiction. But he actually gave it to some of the kids in the audience, which I thought was kind of cool. It was nice to have the edge and the anger and the frustration and the metal that came with the music, but then you just kind of saw them as regular people, and I kind of like that. Not that I don't like bits like with Ice Nine Kills, but I like to see the performers as people, not necessarily as a persona. But yeah, but with that, Five Finger gave one hell of a fantastic show. All right, boyos. Now we get to the big thing. The big boys again. For the second time, Metallica as the headliner. First thing I want to say, I had originally purchased the shirt with the Jersey Devil, and admittedly I had spent a little too much money. So I didn't have the funds to obtain the other shirt for the second show, which was this. Tell me that's not the coolest fucking thing ever. I'm a little salty that I didn't get the Kraken shirt. That's totally fine. I love the big spooky Cthulhu monster, but I just wanted to point out that this type of tour is going to have different types of merchandise on different days, so be aware of that. This concert of Metallica did not have any repeat songs from the first night, and I think that's a good thing. Personally, I recognized immediately a lot more songs as they were coming on with the second tour versus the first one, and I feel like the first one had a lot more of their new stuff, which I didn't really touch upon in the first video. I just want to say I actually really like the new album, 72 Seasons. It's pretty good. I don't think it's the best thing that Metallica's ever did. I mean, obviously it's not. But for an album that is coming from Metallica, it is well above average. It's fun, lots of energy. I think it's worth your time. And there's going to be a couple of songs that I think are really good. Some of the songs that were immediately recognizable was Whom the Bell Tolls, Ride the Lightning, Whiskey in the Jar, Wherever I May Roam, One, and of course they did play Enter Sandman at the end. Personally, I think there's a lot better songs than Enter Sandman. I know that it's the most popular. I still think Master of Puppets is the best, but so be it. With Metallica playing a lot more recognizable songs, it felt like they had a lot more energy put into it. And they even said at the beginning of the show that they were more energized and more excited and ready to kick ass. And Kirk did not make any mistakes this time, like he did with the first show with Nothing Else Matters. This different energy was, I think, better. And that's a bold statement because I don't want to make it sound like the first show was bad. In fact, if you watch my previous video, you'll know that I had an absolute blast. And I had an absolute blast with this time too. As soon as one started, just like with Pantera, the concert before, I got those Guitar Hero flashbacks to the first time when I played one and got so scared that I never played it again. It's hard to believe that they were able to dig deeper to pull more energy for this second concert. It was just absolutely amazing. So ultimately, with Metallica being the absolute champions that they are, I can't really sing their praises more than I already have. I do think that the second show was just a little bit better. Part of that is Einstein Kills, part of that is Five Finger Death Punch, and then of course Metallica bringing more songs that I personally knew and bring an even better energy than they did before, made it a more pleasurable experience. I mean, I was singing and screaming. I loved it. I loved absolutely every second of both shows. The only bad part, of course, is the long drive home. Wiped out for a couple of days once I got home to just kind of sit and relax. But the more I thought about it, the more I just treasure that experience. My friend who came with me, he always wanted to go ahead and see Metallica, and he was so happy and grateful that he could spend this time not just with me, but to go out and see them twice with some other really fantastic bands too. I really would have liked to see the other two bands. I actually really like Volbeat and Greta Van Fleet, which would have been a really cool experience too. So if for any of the shows out there where you're seeing Volbeat and Greta Van Fleet instead of some of the ones that I saw, you are in for a great show, I'm sure. I've always wanted to see Volbeat, and maybe I will someday. If you are lucky enough to go, you're going to have a great time. Enjoy it. Enjoy the energy, enjoy the love, and enjoy the metal. With you, with yourself, your loved ones, the people around you. I don't have a single bad thing to say about it. I really don't. You know, if I had to give this one a rating, I would give this one, I think, 10.1 Weezers out of 10. It won't get 11, though. Because the one thing that I had to ask throughout this whole concert, where the hell is Weezer? Thank you so very much for watching this two-part series. I think at some point what I'll do is I'll at some point down the road I'll kind of cut and put the two together to just make one longer video, since I know that YouTube kind of tends to like those these days. But thank you so much for watching. I don't have any more band shirts to show. I'm just grateful that I was able to go, and I'm grateful that people have been interested to see what I have to say. It really means a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.